In this video, we will discuss about a very interesting feature given by JavaScript called as IIFE. So people also call it as IIFE. So the full form of IIFE is immediately invoked function expression. Right, so the name is big, but it does a very important work. So let us try to understand in this video what exactly is a IIFE in JavaScript. Now let us say that you want to go and do some initialization work for a web page. So for a web page you want to go and initialize a variable called as counter. Like I want to initialize this variable called as counter, and then must be I want to go and increment this counter, right? So you can see that here I have a simple initialization code which starts here and ends here, right? Now let us say that I have a function down below. So there is a function down below, sum function, right? And in the sum function I'm using a variable here called as counter. Okay, so here also I'm just saying counter is equal to counter plus 1, right? And this sum function is called. So now if I go and run this, so let us go and run this page, and let us also put a debug point and let us see what is happening with the counter variable, right? How slow. So let me do F12 here, and let us go to sources, and let us see. So let us go to the sources here. So I'm putting a debug point here and I'm putting a debug point here, right? So let me go and run this. So if you see, first thing what happens is, you can see over here the initialization starts, so it makes this counter variable as 10, and then I go and increment this variable, right? So the counter becomes 11, isn't it? Now this sum function is invoked, this sum fun is invoked, and you can see now this sum fun value of the counter is 11. So it means that this counter value is taken from here. Why? Because in JavaScript, when we declare a variable at the top, it becomes a global variable for the whole web page. So what happens is, this counter variable is the same what you have here. So in short, if I do an increment here, it now becomes 12, right? Now there is a problem here. I want that this initialization code should not affect the function variable. So in other words, I want that this counter variable should not be polluting the variables of the function. I want this counter variable should be different from this counter variable. We all know that when you have a lot of global variables in your application, you can have problems, because we do not know that global variable is getting modified from where, right? So what I really want is, I want that this counter variable scope should be different from this counter variable. So this counter variable scope should be only within the sum fun, and this counter variable should be only for the initialization purpose, right? But now because this counter variable is declared at the top like this, it becomes a global variable. And second, also what I want is that this initialization code should be called only once. Only once this initialization code should be called, and not again and again. So there are two requirements I have. One is that I do not want the polluting of the global variables. So the first requirement here is, I do not want global variable pollution, right? Second, I want to initialize but only once, right? I do not want to initialize multiple times. And that's where we have something called as this immediately invoked functions. This immediately invoked function is nothing but it is an anonymous function. So what you do here is, you will say your function. So you will wrap this up into a function like this, and then you will immediately invoke it. So you can see here I'm immediately invoking it. So you can see that this is a function without a name, so it is a anonymous function at the end of the day. And second, you are immediately invoking it. So you can see here, when I'm calling that round bracket, that means I'm just invoking here immediately, right? Now what happens due to this? So due to this, what will happen is this counter variable scope is only limited till here. This counter variable will not pollute now this counter variable. So if I now go and reload this page here, so let me go and reload the page. Let us see what happens. So there it is. You can see now this function will be immediately invoked. So you can see the time this must be, I should have put a debug point here. Let me do that. So I'll go and rerun this. So you can see as soon as the function is created, he is immediately invoking that code, right? And it satisfies our second need, saying that you have to only initialize once. So only this code will be called only once, when your web page loads, right? So there you can see now this counter variable is 10, it becomes 11. But this counter variable scope is only from this function, only for this function scope. As soon as it comes to some fun here, you will find that it will probably throw up an exception. So you can see here it says there is an exception here saying that this counter is not defined, which is actually very good. Why? Because now he is not referencing this counter, isn't it? So that means here if I say where counter is equal to 0, this will work properly. So if I now run this, so there you can see now this counter variable is no more referring this counter variable with value 11, right? So by using immediately invoked function, what happens is, the global variable pollution does not happen. Remember that if you have a lot of global variables in your project, you can end up into a problem. So if you want to do initialization only once and you also want to avoid global variable pollution, then definitely the answer is immediately invoked function. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. In this video, we were trying to understand what is the importance of immediately invoked function. Now, before I end this tutorial, here is a small suggestion for people who are having FF. FF means, framework fever. Okay, so I've seen a lot of people, they are crazily running after Angular 2, Angular 1, Node and, TypeScript and Knockout and React. I understand, all of these things are important, because at the end of the day, when you say you want to create an enterprise application, you need frameworks, right? But at the end of the day, all of these frameworks are using JavaScript as a background. So JavaScript is the main language on which these frameworks actually stand. And what I've seen is that all of these developers who jump into frameworks directly, what they know about JavaScript is that they just know the if conditions and the for loop. So that's the only thing, I find common. But JavaScript is a very different language. It is a prototypical language. The way it has classes, it has objects, the way it does inheritance, the way it has data types is completely different, from the way we have in C# and Java. So what I would suggest, here is a video, which I am flashing on the video. So here is a link which I am flashing on the video, where I have walked up through important features of JavaScript, which a C# and a Java developer should know. So go ahead and watch this video. In this video, what I've done, I have not covered if conditions, I have not covered for loops, because I know that as a developer you know it, but I have covered those typical weird JavaScript scenarios or JavaScript things, like closures, like inheritance, the way data types are, right? JavaScript hoisting and so on. So go ahead and walk through this video. So my suggestion is, first become good in JavaScript, spend some time in learning JavaScript, and the frameworks will come and go. I'm sure that JavaScript is here to stay for a long time. So go ahead and watch that video. Thank you very much.